When did you start figuring out that you were first getting old? For me personally, is when I first stated my age in public and it started sounding serious. I'm like, man, I got bills. I'm the uncle now. I got kids that I grew up saying that I used to watch them and wipe their diapers. That's when I realized, like, man, I'm old. And essentially, these are some other things on my list that I feel like most of us kind of realized that we were getting old. First, we talk about the CDs and DVDs. Let's be honest. Back in the day, you were burning a CD, put all your music on it. That's when we had the LimeWire days, and you start feeling like you was really coding and doing something cool. People don't go through that anymore. I remember with Redbox and DVDs, that was the thing. Coming home on a Friday night and going to the Redbox, picking out a CD for $3 and getting some movies and hanging out with your friends. That's not a thing. Redbox just closed this year. That hurts my soul because that was a big part of my childhood, and I realized that like people don't even experience that anymore. Like, do people even have CD players in their car? Everything is digital now, so we simplified it. So everything now is going obsolete that's physical. So for me, that was a really big thing that had to catch my eye. I'm like, people ain't really even doing that anymore. Next is essentially when you hear 30 years ago, back in the day, you used to think the 1970s. No, that's 1990s now. I'm almost 30, and when I hear 30 years ago, I don't think about my birthday. I'm born in 1996. In 2 years, it's gonna be 2026. Like, hearing that hurts me because it's like, man, I'm I'm old. But things like that, to where a lot of people are hearing these kids now, kids that were born in 2002 are like 22. Like, it's still hard for me to believe that and understand that, but that's just the way the thing is going. Life is growing. Life is always changing. Are you going with it, or what are we doing? Next is something I feel like a lot of us here is these iPad kids these days. Growing up, if you had an iPad, that was a status of luxury. Having anything Apple related, when it was the iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, or even just the iPod, was cool. Now you have kids as old as like 2 years old playing with iPads and their own designated iPad. Parents are intentionally buying things for kids just to put in front of the screen. For me, it was just the TV. You came home from school, you got PBS Kids, you had Disney Channel, you had Kids Disney. But it was those things, those channels that weren't always as accessible at all times that these kids have now. Like, kids don't even go to McDonald's and get the little toys anymore, But now all they have is iPads, and they can download any app at any time and play it and watch Roblox. And it, to me, just crazy. Like, how many times for me, I got my first phone when I was younger, in high school. So it's even crazy for me to see kids now with iPads and iPhones at such a young age. Still blows my mind. And then we have to talk about these stores closing down. For me, growing up, Toys R Us was near and dear to my heart. We would go there if I wanted to get a Build-A-Bear. We talk about all the toys, because I feel like toys are kind of becoming obsolete now in these days as well. So places like Toys R Us, Radio Shack, Sears, all these places going out of business, it hurts, right? Because Sears is actually my dad's first job when he first moved to the States. So I could see that as being one of the bigger giant appliance companies. For it seeing it, all the malls now that don't have a Sears, blows my mind. It just kind of shows you we're just getting old. Things are changing. Places are going more digital. Everything is digital now. So places like Radio Shack, that was your hub for you wanted technology. You were going there. We have Best Buy now, thank God, but like, it was so many places that you could go get a Circuit City, another place. So this is kind of says, if you grew up on these, you're old. And then lastly, all my favorite athletes I used to love growing up, now their kids are in the league. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., Bronny, Kiyan Anthony. All their dads, or the ones I grew up watching. LeBron James is still playing to this day, but he started in 2003. Carmelo Anthony was one of the best shooting guards in the league for a very long time. And now his son is almost about to go to college. Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison was my favorite receiver on the Indianapolis Colts for a very long time. Him, Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne set many records. He was just inducted to the Hall of Fame only a couple years ago. But now, watching his son be a first-round pick, be one of the best receivers in the country, and, being one of the most prolific weapons to come out in the draft in a very long time, it kind of just shows you that we're dating ourselves, and, man, is it getting scary. But trust me, tell me, what are some things that have made you realize that you were getting old? And drop them in the comments right below.